All right, today we pulled that all apart, bench bled the master, got it all back together, tightened all the lines back up. We've got to find our little clips for those lines to make them look nice. We'll get there. And we did a nice long gravity bleed, and the brakes all bled, and now we're cleaning up the mess. Got the rears pretty adjusted, so they're already pretty close. I think the parking brake would even work. So just cleaning up there. Now that everything's bled. And we found a thing we had messed up. We weren't thinking, so we had to pull quite a bit apart. See that clevis on the brake pedal there? Wow, that was way too long. And it's adjustable, but the actual shaft was too long. So I had to cut an inch off that shaft. And that added some drama. Let's see, we got the 7/16 bolt from CVF, and we're really happy. They shipped that right to us, no questions asked. And you can see we've got a mock-up alternator and the case sitting there. We're just kind of working things out. Thought the alternator would be here this week, and we were incorrect, so I guess it's next week. You never know about shipping these days. But we're hoping in the next week or two to set the engine back in the frame, to check some clearances, and to start working out how we're going to do the throttle linkage. Well, it's not going to be linkage, it'll definitely be a cable, but where is that coming out? So that's one of the things we definitely want to know. We have been playing fuel line games on here, so the astute will notice that we no longer have a crossover in the front, and I have a little parts list. We didn't actually have any -6 O-ring connectors, but we're going to do another line like they did back here to hide that. And then we moved from this input to the back. And then what this is going to give us, let me grab a chunk of hose here, is both of these lines will now run down the supercharger out of the way. Remembering there's a hole in the hood here. So these will run down and be safe, nice and protected, and it'll look pretty nice. And then they're going to run down along the cleaner, because the fuel pressure regulator is going to be up there. That black insulation that you put on your plumbing in the house to keep it from weeping is just protecting the paint from the 1/2-inch feed line and the 3/8 return line, which you can see them both right here coming up. So we've got to do both the fuel pressure regulator, the Y block, and get our return all set up. So then we'll have 2 -6 lines running to the snipers. So we've got that 1/2-inch coming up, and then 2 3/8 lines going to the snipers. We should have enough pump and enough line to put us square in the solid 700s without too much trouble. We'll have to see past that. But that's one of the beauties of the supercharger, is on the dyno we can figure out what pulley combo we need to run this thing nice and safe on the street. And you can see, just like in the Ben 69, that I do like this low car kit. I've used it a few times, different, not always the same part numbers, but it works. It's not free, but it does work, and that's always kind of nice. So unfortunately we'd hoped a lot more would be done here, but shipping is what it is. And during today's day and age, we get what we get when it shows up. And we still don't have our coupler, so we're waiting on that. And we're not having any joy finding what we want from anybody as far as our 4.5-inch offsets. So we're actually going to go to Granger and just get some threaded rod, some nice threaded drilled and tapped rods that you can buy, and then we'll just cut them down to the length we want and polish them up, and that will work good. Everybody keeps spacing them off of here, and we like the idea of just moving the whole frame forward. One, it seems sturdier, but two, I think it's going to look nicer, and I guess it'll be somewhat custom, even though that wasn't really the goal. And of course, during all of this, we did have this bowl off to see how we were going to physically attach this, and it's exactly what we thought. There's a very clever cast set of passages in here, so that that's why they can have so many inlets and outlets that can feed 2 or 4 fuel injectors depending on how they drill it. So that's kind of interesting to notice, that This could actually support 8 fuel injectors per sniper unit. And knowing that this thing, each one of these should pass 1,000 CFM, no problem. That's interesting. So I think they're thinking ahead on that, if not already doing it in some applications. So that's probably all we're going to post this week. So it's not a very long video. There's no editing. It's just a single one cut. But 55 is back up in the air. We're getting there. It's been a little slow this year. You know, shipping is an interesting problem this year. So anyway, that is the end of this week's 55 video.